Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Monty Curl, and welcome to another Division Let's Talk. And as I said earlier today on Twitter, if you're not following me, follow me on Twitter. You get all the updates real quick. But as I said on Twitter, today we will be talking about the Last Stand DLC. I have a PTS release date, which is actually tomorrow. It's actually tonight. It's going to be available tomorrow. The one thing, I have some things that I'm going to cover that you probably haven't read about because I've been combing through lots and lots of patch notes. And so you might not have heard about some of the stuff here, but I'm going to go ahead and try and cover the most important stuff that I can. And there are just some minute details that people have been leaving out and things that affect the game wildly. And so the one thing that I'm going to tell you is that the PTS is being released tomorrow. That's tomorrow, which is not today. Today is Monday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. It will be released tomorrow. And the one thing you're not going to hear about from a lot of other people is the Last Stand game mode will not be available on the PTS tomorrow. It's going to be available at a later date. So that's really what's going to be. And we're not going to go over the Last Stand stuff right now because that's not important because it won't be available. And so let's go ahead. Let's talk new incursion. It's called Lost Signal. And the Lost Signal takes place in a civilian TV broadcast center taken over by the infamous Riker Gang. Players will venture into 3 different wings and face unique combat scenarios. Each encounter is meant to push players to play tactically and make the best use of their builds. I hope that this is true. Like, this sounds a lot like the last incursion they put out, and while I enjoyed the last incursion, it definitely didn't bring any challenges. It was definitely fairly lackluster, like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. That couldn't have been a worse encounter. Like, there should have been mechanics to it. There should have been, like, I mean, in all honesty, you should have fought one at a time, not all 4 at the same time. You should have went through different areas and fought, one guy after one guy, and each guy had his own unique system for going ahead and trying to have to overcome that. But either way, it's fine. It is what it is. You know what, Massive? Just go back and redo that one. Just go back and redo that incursion and actually make it good. In fact, go back and redo all of the incursions and actually make them worth playing again. There's something there. There's got to be something there. But anyways, all wings bring their own challenges and rewards. Completing all of them will unlock the final boss fight and the strongest opposition yet. But that's really all that is. But let's go ahead and talk about the Dark Zone changes. So I know we covered the Dark Zone changes, but there were some other changes that I found while combing through the patch notes that really need to be addressed. And so there's a disclaimer in the patch notes that says, please understand that the changes listed here are not final in any way and may or not be fully implemented on the PTS. When testing on the PTS and providing feedback, please keep in mind that some changes might be missing and that balancing is still a work in progress. Well, the one thing that I want to go ahead and cover is the obsolete Banshee set, and that comes in the way of being able to die now in the Dark Zone. And it says here, players will no longer lose Dark Zone experience and funds when killed in the Dark Zone if they are not rogue. Now, I don't know if that's specific to the PTS, but it sounds like it's just going to be a 1.6 thing. It's going to be 1.6 focused, and that's what it is, because it's right here alongside players can fast travel between Dark Zone checkpoints, and supply drops will now reward Dark Zone experience as well. And so what does that mean for the Banshee set? And I haven't heard anybody talking about this. It's very interesting to know that they go ahead and they're implementing this. I don't think that there's something else that needs to happen. I have no idea what, but that's really the interesting thing that is going to happen. There are a few other things. Medkits can now be used at full health to cleanse a character for applied status effect, but the one thing that's going to affect you the most, and that is they have decreased or actually increased the cooldown time on your medkit from 12 seconds to 15 seconds. I still think the 12-second cooldown is actually too much. I think adding 3 more seconds on is going to actually make it a lot easier to kill people, which is probably what they're trying to do. Now, there's hip fire stability that's significantly reduced while moving, and the player camera will now be impacted by hip fire, reducing the field of view, and no longer, the longer you keep firing. So that's going to be a little bit of strange. And the one thing that I don't really like, and I'm glad that they have avoided this until now, because they actually said at the very beginning, I don't know if you remember, but they were like, no microtransactions will be in the division until now. So you can now visit the premium vendor in the terminal to unlock premium vanity content. Stocks update weekly, so check back regularly and explore new ways of customizing your agents with weapon skins, backpack skins, new clothing sets, and emotes. So they're really going the Destiny route with this, and really bringing that out. So it doesn't actually affect anything, so it's not really that big of a deal, but they really hid that stuff. So but either way, it's fine. I'm really looking forward to legendary difficulty as well. And there's just, there's a numerous amount of things. I don't know how the armor being removed as a major bonus from items and replaced with health is really going to help anybody. It's really interesting to see how they're going to balance everything. And when I first get into the PTS, that's the first thing I'm going to check, is seeing how it balances, seeing what the armor values look like. And it really goes back to the whether or not you're going to be squishy or what. Oh, and before I forget, this is the one thing that I need you to do right now. Before you continue with this video, hit pause on this video, do whatever, go buy any exotic weapons that you want, because after this is done, all of the exotic weapons are being removed from the advanced gear vendor. So go buy all of the cool exotic weapons that you want, the Liberator, the Valkyrie, anything that you can possibly think of that you want, the Historian, go buy that right now. Just stop whatever you're doing, go buy that right now. You can keep this on in the background. I'll wait for you. I'm just going to keep talking while you go buy it, starting up your Xbox, starting up your PS4, starting up your PC so that you can go buy that stuff. Buy it right now, because once 1.6 drops, they won't be there anymore. You'll have to wait, and you'll be a sad panda if you're not going to get those. So that's going to be a real sad thing for you if you don't get that. So here's another thing, gear talents. So all you people that are going to buy that gear right now, we're just going to move on without you. So we'll keep going. Rejuvenated now gives 40% resistance to the all status effect for 10 seconds when using a medkit. And so this is another thing that they hid. They are creating a all resistance status. So on weapons and gear, or actually just on gear, they're creating a all resistance status effect, which is something that I suggested way back then. It's to remove just the shitloads amount of RNG, like the ridiculous amounts of RNG. Here's 10% to burn status. Here's 10% to disorient. Here's 10% to blind and deaf. Here's 10. Like, seriously, this is great. I'm happy they're doing an all resistance. So that is actually a huge thing. Changes to skill. Now, this is probably, I have a feeling, the new meta. You're going to hear it first. The new meta is going to be skill builds, because what's happening with skills is that the skill power curve has been modified, resulting in less efficient skills at low skill power, which means that you have to have a shitload of skill power for it to work, which is awesome, because I know a lot of people who use skill builds like myself, and they have a lot of skills already. So skills will now scale to the world tier. So you're currently in as the expected skill power has been implemented. So, basically if you have 500,000 skill power in tier 1, you're going to have 100,000 skill power in tier 5. But either way, the diminishing return on skill powers will not kick in until you have at least 450,000 skill power. That's a lot of skill power. I don't know anybody right now that has that much skill power. So you're going to be able to get that much skill power. It's probably, they probably balanced it out so that 450,000 skill power is like having 250 right now. But we'll see. All the skills have been adapted to this new scaling. So there you have it. That is really what that means, is that it will, it's basically 450,000 skill power is like having 250 right now. So some of the other changes, the sticky bomb, they changed the flashbang mod to only have a flashbang effect. It no longer has the EMP effect, so that's going to suck for a lot of people. Changed the proximity mod to be an EMP effect instead. So you're going to see a lot more proximity people doing that, and so added a warning and delay to the sticky bomb. This means that all sticky bombs will no longer detonate immediately, giving people the chance to dive out of the way. How nice of them to do that. Now the defibrillator will now heal in 2 steps, 1 instant burst of healing followed by a heal over time. The shock turret will no longer deal any damage. It will only shock the enemy. it didn't really do any damage to begin with, so it doesn't really matter. The tack link damage bonus is decreased by 10% in Last Stand. This change doesn't apply outside of Last Stand, where the bonus remains at 30%. Remove that shit from the PvP. Nobody needs that shit in PvP. Remove those. Remove tack link. Remove security link. Remove the whatever else, survival link. Remove all that shit from PvP. Remove it. It sucks. It's stupid. Nobody likes it. You want a straight PvP in the PvP zone. We don't want this shit in there. Listen to the players. I don't know who told you that. I don't even know people that like it in the actual dark zone. But that doesn't matter. Remove that shit from Last Stand. This is what I'm telling you right now. I haven't even played it in Last Stand. Remove your signature skill from Last Stand. It's just that ridiculous. It doesn't belong in PvP. Just remove it. So now that I got that out of the way, I am excited about the Reclaimer piece. I do have a feeling that people are going to be running Reclaimer again, as it will give you all support station mods are active at the same time. I do think that is huge. It's going to drive people away from Alpha Bridge, especially with the changes to Alpha Bridge. The Tactician's Authority, Tactorities, yes, please go ahead and use that. It's now the Tactorities link. So 4 pieces now consumes the skill power buff on skill use instead of after 10 seconds. That's huge, because every time I would deploy my Seeker Mind and that 10 seconds would just run out and you'd be screwed. So here it is. So the new Seeker gear set, why are they just adding 1 gear set? Did they not have time to add more? Could they not think of anything? Either way, so 2 pieces is 10% body shot damage, 3 pieces 30% critical hit damage, and 4 pieces after 2 consecutive body shots to the body, the next shot is guaranteed critical hit. So I have a feeling what's going to happen is that 2 pieces is really going to be for people running, LMG or something else. 3 pieces is going to be for those people using SMGs, and 4 pieces are going to be for your marksman rifle people. That's just the way it is. It just seems that way, and it sounds very good. And so those are the things that we're going to go ahead and see. Now, let's go ahead and go over really quickly. I'm going to do a whole service on this in my 3rd video. This is only going to be the 2nd, but this is going to be the 3rd. And so let's go ahead and just talk about weapons really quickly. Base damage on all weapons has been reduced to balance correctly with the reduced damage mitigation from the change to armor. Why change armor if you're going to change everything else? That's stupid. That's just dumb. That's ridiculous. Why are you changing this shit? Here's the thing that you did the last time. You're like, the NPCs aren't squishy enough, so we're going to reduce that, but we're also going to reduce the amount of damage they take from you. This is just ridiculous. There is no reason to do this stuff. I have no idea. Just leave that shit alone when you're doing it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I really don't know. There is some ridiculously stupid stuff where they just mitigate the change by mitigating another change. They mitigate the change to armor. What's the point of reducing the firearms if you're going to just reduce the armor? There's no reason to do that. That seems stupid. And it just, I have no idea, because you're not changing a whole lot of other things. But let's just go ahead and cover the major exotic weapons. So things like the FAMAS is going to be an exotic weapon now, and the other one is going to be the Urban MDR. Those are both going to be considered in the realm of exotic weapons. So the FAMAS is now an exotic weapon, and Uncomplicated is a unique talent to it. You cannot change that. That is one thing about exotic weapons that you can't do, is that exotic weapons, the exotic portion cannot be changed. Now, the Medved, Hungry Hog, Tenebrae, Pecan are all regular Cassidy, Warlord, Damascus, Golden Rhino, Historian, and the Caduceus. Those are all regular exotic weapons. They have specials that you can't change. I'll do a whole video on those next, so look for that probably tomorrow. I just want to give them a try out. And then there are going to be weapon gear sets like the Liberator and Centurion, and the Valkyrie, which becomes Hilder and Air, and they are going to have their own stuff as well. Now, in the open world, civilians will always drop target intel. that's pretty cool, because dropping a purple or blue for me isn't going to do anything. And collectibles will now reward players with more XP when they're picked up at level 30. So now you have a reason to go pick up all those cell phones that you've been waiting for. Now, really quickly, let's go over the survival stuff, because this is going to be a lot of changes to it, and there's a lot of really great changes to survival. So crafting high-end pistols will no longer cost division tag. So now you can craft a yellow high-end pistol while you're outside the dark zone. They've updated the survival catch content. It no longer has a specific drop that weighs toward weapons introduced in survival and has more of a generic drop rate instead. Exotic items can now drop as a bonus with a small chance. I've never actually seen anything but regular weapons drop as survival caches. So reviving players from downstate now costs a med kit. That's absolutely stupid. I have no idea why that would do it. When matchmaking and solo PvP survival, players will end up in a guaranteed solo instance where not grouping is possible. Let me go back really quick. Reviving players from downstate will now cost a med kit. This is stupid for one reason, and because it tends to skew towards groups. And from, I'm a nice person when I'm playing survival. If you saw my last video, I was running to help this guy who was down. He was in a down state. I had 2 med kits. I was more than happy to help him out, but he left. He left survival after I killed his hunter, and I went to go revive him because I didn't need his stuff. I was just going to go catch the helicopter, and he quit out right as I went for him. But if I didn't have a med kit, I wouldn't have been able to get him up. He was still crawling around on the ground, and he was just about to die, and I was going to go and help him out. I wasn't going to be a day, and he just, I messaged him right after that. I was like, dude, you should have stayed, but he didn't. So anyways, players, here's one that people will be interested in. Players can no longer loot and kill other downed players in PvE survival. This is really weird. I have no idea why this was put in, but I guess people complained about it enough. I know I complained about it at one point, but it really, it just gives people more time to sit there and loot and wait for people to die. Supplies available are around the different spawn hideouts have been rebalanced, so that's always good. But they're probably going to be in a static spot, so no change there. Really, they're just going to switch it around. So that's kind of weird. So underground killing NPCs will now grant underground XP instead of normal XP. This means that players will no longer earn normal XP when playing underground. Underground caches now guarantee 2 items instead of 1. Exotic items can now have a small chance to do that. And that's pretty much all we got. There's a couple of other things. There's some bug fixes that they went over. So they fixed a bug where recovery link would not trigger correctly. They fixed several instances of ballistic shield becoming unusable. They fixed a bug where the pulse master skill would not always trigger early warning a hostile character. They fixed a bug where vigorous talent would not work properly. The one thing that they did fix that's pretty cool. What is it? Oh man, I forgot what it was. It doesn't really matter. I'll tell you in the next video. Anyways, that's been my time. Thank you so much. I'm Mounty Curl, and if you like this video, drop a like on it and go ahead and subscribe to us for more Division content as we get ready for the march up to 1.6. And see, I said 1.6. I didn't say 1.6, since I know that irritates the shit out of some of you. Some of you don't like that. 1.6. There you go. I said it. Are you happy? Leave a comment if you're happy about 1.6 and not 1.6. I personally prefer 1.6. I know some of you out there really don't like it. But anyways, drop a like for 1.6 and we'll go ahead and get out of here. For all of us here at the Division, for me, for Infamous, for Mounty Curl, we'll catch you in the dark zone. In the narc zone. Narc zone! 1.6, 1.6, which one do you prefer? Write down in the comments, whatever one you prefer. If I get, you know what, if this video gets over 100 likes, I will stop saying 1.6. No, I don't know. Just leave a comment down there. I'll take a survey. Whichever one you guys like the most, I'm going to go with. If you like 1.6, put it down in the comments. If you like 1.6, put it down in the comments. I'll calculate how many people, post that, and I'll go with whatever one you guys want me to go with. Anyways, that's my time. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the dark zone. Agent out.